Welcome back to Brush Up Your Game. My name is David, and today we're taking a look at Red Skull from Marvel United, and this is kind of a how to defeat Red Skull, or maybe how to approach defeating Red Skull. I'm not playing your game. I can't be there every moment. I can't make the choices for you, but I can give you some pointers about how to go about tackling the villain. So, Red Skull, first off, starts with a lot of health 4, 8, or 11. Almost 3 per player, roughly, give or take. Um, yeah, his BAM effect deal 1 damage to each hero in Red Skull's location and increase the fear track by 2. Meaning, every time he BAMs, this track, starting at 0, trying to get to 20, is going to move up by 2. He's also going to deal damage. If he KOs a hero, it's going to go up by 2 again. You want to avoid KOs if at all possible. Some villains, the KO effect, not that bad. Triggering, bam, whatever. Red Skull, it's a big deal. We want to avoid this. His overflow effect. If a civilian or thug token can't be added to a location, increase the fear track by 1 for each token. For each token you can't add. That's a huge deal. Lots of villains only trigger an overflow if there was overflow, not for each token. Red Skull's different that way. So Red Skull can hit his villainous plot track very, very, very quickly. Yeah, there's a lot here. So even though he's kind of easy, he's the starter villain, he can get out of control very quickly. Let's look at his threat cards here. First off, 3 henchmen. We've got Bob with 4 health. Heroes starting their turn in this location take 1 crisis token. Why are crisis tokens important? We'll find out. Madam Hydra with 5 health on a BAM. And this happens regardless. Deal 1 damage to each hero in this location. Any hero can prevent this effect by taking 1 crisis token. I wouldn't recommend that. And then Crossbones with 6 health. BAM, deal 2 damage to each hero in this location. Any hero can prevent this effect by taking 2 crisis tokens. My recommendation, ignore Crossbones. Just don't go there. Don't end your turn there. Just ignore him completely. It's a waste of punches. You need your punches for Red Skull. Ignore Crossbones. Deal with Bob for sure. Maybe deal with Madam Hydra. Deal with the rest of these. Speaking of the rest of these, Red Skull's one of the unique villains. He has 6 unique threat cards. So we're going to work right to left. I don't know. I'm feeling in a different mood here. Hydra Elite Troops. Each thug in this location requires 2 damage to be defeated. Clear this one out. Clear it first. You don't want to waste your punches. Clear it out. Take 3 heroic actions. Just wipe it off the board. Then deal with the thugs that are there. Brainwashing only happens when Red Skull lands there, including on a 0. Heroes in this and adjacent locations take 1 crisis token each. I recommend clearing this off. This is going to affect half the board. You don't want to have to deal with it if you can avoid it. Subversion. When Red Skull lands there, discard all thugs and civilians from this location and advance the fear track by the number of tokens discarded this way. It's kind of like overflow. It's not the worst threat. I consider this not an immediate threat that has to be dealt with. But it is a threat that you need to deal with, I'd say sooner rather than later. Okay. Red Skull. So we've established his BAM effect is, well, not good. Well, his BAM is on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's only on 7 of the 12 cards, little more than half. That means if you go through the full deck, or you get completely unlucky and he just BAMs 7 times in a row, the fear track is at 14. Now, it's probably more because of a KO and overflow. But if you notice, for the most part, Red Skull's not dropping tons of civilians and thugs. and then you get the 5 where that's almost certain to trigger overflow. That's just one you gotta deal with, or run like Black Widow, who can spy on the next master plan card, and then just stick that one to the bottom. What you do need to worry about are these Hail Hydra and Hydra Insurgency cards. The move zeros. And he does move 0 5 times. Hail Hydra, you're going to discard all civilians from locations with heroes and deal 1 damage to each of those heroes. Advance the fear track by the number of civilians discarded this way. So, my recommendation, until you've seen those 2 cards, stick together. In general, it's a good idea to stick together unless you have a villain who says otherwise. Red Skull stays with that pattern. You want to stick together. He also has 2 cards, Hydra Insurgency. For each crisis token the heroes have, advance the fear track by 1. So, Bob and Madam Hydra and Crossbones, who were giving out crisis tokens, and Brainwashing, who was giving out crisis token. You don't want that. If you see those early, you got an easy game. You see those late, you got a tough game, or middling. I really do recommend having Black Widow to scout the master plan deck. Speaking of scouting, let's talk locations, because I think locations really do affect what you're going to be able to do in this game. So against Red Skull, let's assume, I'm going to assume you only have the base set. So let's play only with those cards. You got 8 locations, you get 6 of them. Okay. I think Avengers Mansion is an auto include here. You may draw cards until you have 3 in your hand. That's your healing. It's going to hopefully prevent, if not prevent, minimize knockouts. So I think that's a good one. Stark Labs, you can swap 1 card from your hand with 1 card in the storyline. I like the location. I don't think it's necessary against Red Skull. We'll back burner it. The police headquarters, you may discard 1 thug from any location. I do think that's a good one here. It's going to prevent overflow and give you a good chance to not lose to the fear track. So we got Avengers Mansion, we got the police headquarters. Times Square. You may rescue 1 civilian from this location. There are other locations that do this better, but they're not in this set, so Times Square should go in. Plus, you got 5 spots for civilians and thugs, and even though you start with 3 of them, it's still a very good spot to have in the game. So Times Square staying in here. Avengers Tower, you may search your deck for 1 card, set it aside, then shuffle your deck, place that card on top. I don't think that's necessary either. The Shield Helicarrier, you can move to any other location. Good effect. We probably want it, but we should move on. Central Park, you may move up to 2 civilians or thugs in any combination from this location to any other locations. All that's doing is spreading out your bad risks of overflow. I don't love the location. It starts with 4 civilians and thugs there, and you have 5 spots that can be helpful, but I've never been a fan of the location. The Shield Headquarters, you can discard 1 card from your hand to the bottom of your deck to remove 1 crisis token from anywhere. If those Hydra Insurgencies are hanging out, you're worried about them, that can come in handy. So, I think Shield Headquarters is another good include in the deck. Plus, has 4 spots and you only start with 2 of them filled. So my recommendation, take Shield Headquarters, the Helicarrier, the police headquarters, Times Square, Avengers Mansion, and Stark Labs. And that's your 6. Leave out Avengers Tower and Central Park. That's my recommendation. Play it smart. Do the sorts of things that make for good gameplay. You've got these 3 challenges that you have to complete. Well, 2 of them you have to complete in order to attack the villain. Try to complete 2 of them at the same turn, and that's going to help you be more successful. You don't want to accelerate the villain, make them act every 2 turns, and then be like only a little bit towards a second objective. That's going to cause you to lose, because if Red Skull's moving, you're in trouble there. Don't play with challenge cards. Use those, and I think you're going to be in a good spot. Okay? Play it smart. Take out your threats. Get rid of stuff that's giving out crisis tokens. Try not to start at Bob's location. Try not to end your turn with Crossbones. In fact, just don't deal with Crossbones. You can deal with Crossbones right at the end of the game, but at that point, just live with it. But yeah, take out Hydra Elite troops. Take out Brainwashing. I'd recommend taking out Madam Hydra, and then you worry about Subversion or Bob, and that's how you're successful. And then save your punches for Red Skull as best you can. That's the best options I got for you. So, all right, thank you for watching. Until next time, keep brushing up your game. Take care.